Good morning, everyone. We have shared the instance here. This you need to click on this. You have to use either this username or this username. Password is this. Okay. Click on this link. Enter the username here. Enter the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Click sign in button. Now we are able to log in, right? And after that, you have to go for create a credentials. In case if this username, if somebody has changed password, then you can check this username also. Better create your own password. Okay. And I request you to go through the video, as I said, already uploaded.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
In my drives, yesterday session is not attended. Sir.
Yesterday session, there was some Google Drive issue. That's why we uploaded it to the YouTube channel. Are you in WhatsApp group?
Yes, sir.
I have already updated in WhatsApp group, right?
Okay. I will see.
Here it is. Every communication happened through WhatsApp group. Yes. Here I have uploaded.
Yesterday session.
Yes, yes. Yesterday is only first class, right? Class 1.
Okay, okay.
Sir, when should we run the LDAP program, sir? Because
once you attach the data access to the users.
Oh, not the roles. It's data access.
No, yes. The roles will automatically attach.
Okay, sir.
I have one question, sir.
Go ahead.
When you use LDAP process like LDAP latest, then LDAP retry the process, then import user. When you when you run the
LDAP process will be used only whenever we assign the data access. For example, ledger assignment, business unit assignment, inventory assignment. That time it will be used. We are going to see that in our account payables, account receivables, general ledger. Once it is completed, we are going to add the roles and then we are going for attaching the steps, right? January 23, class 1. So any doubts here? Whatever we discussed in the last class. Fine. Now we are going for second class, class 2. So today we are going to discuss enterprise setup. After that, division. After that, legal entity. Then business unit. After that, we'll go for talk about the ledger definition. Ledger setup, we'll do it tomorrow. So we talked about enterprise structure, and we discussed that enterprise structure will be used to set the organization hierarchy. First setup. So enterprise structure is common for any client whenever we are working, whether it is in finance or supply chain management, but the number of organizations will be different. When I say organization, enterprise, divisions, LDZ, ledger, legal entity, departments, business units, inventories, these all are organizations. But depends on the business operations your client is doing, we'll call it as different. We'll call it as different options here. Okay, so first we'll see the enterprise. Now go to FSM. Go to setup and maintenance here. Here we can search manage enterprise HCM info. Manage is not required every time. Directly we can enter enterprise HCM. So we don't need to go for implementation project every time. Most of the times we'll be doing it here only. When we are talking about the resume preparation and the project information, we'll see how we can go for import and export the data of the setups. Go to manage enterprise HCM information. Here we can find the enterprise details. Here we can find enterprise details. If the enterprise structure is already loaded, we have to follow with the existing enterprise. Only enterprise we will be using, existing one. Then we'll configure our own legal entity and other options. Here it is. Now this is the enterprise. The name of the enterprise is Zomato. And they given the address here. And office timings, workday information, enterprise information, currency support, then payroll element, US balance definitions, position synchronization in HCM, and employment configuration in HCM, HCM flows and document types, position hierarchy in HCM setup, workforce structure. So at enterprise level, 90% it's a HCM setups, not financials. That's why as a finance consultant, we will not be looking at this level, but there are a couple of setups. Person number generation, initial person number, these things we are trying to understand. We'll look into that later. So now we'll find the enterprise name here, Zomato. So within this enterprise only, we'll try to set up our company, means legal entity, business unit. Why can't we create our own enterprise? Because already someone has created and loaded successfully. That's why we cannot go for multiple enterprise, even in the real time anywhere. Any client enterprise will be only one. Within the enterprise, we can have multiple divisions, multiple ledgers, multiple legal entities, multiple business units. That's why here Zomato is there. We have to follow. We have nothing to do. I'm just showing you this setup. When we are working in the real time also, we don't find much work in the enterprise task. In the enterprise task, we don't find much work. Here it is. Okay.
Sir, can we edit the name, sir?
Yeah, name can be modified. Correction is there. And not only name, other setups also, office timings, Enterprise, other setups can be done always.
Sir, correct and update, what is the difference, sir?
Correction means it will overwrite the existing record, whatever that record we have in the database. Update means it will disable the existing record and create a new record into database table. It means it will maintain the history. It will maintain the history. In human capital management, there is a concept called date track. What is the meaning of the date track is when employee join in the company and at the time of joining is joined as a fresher. After 2 years, he became as a senior consultant. Then after 4 years, he became as a team leader. Then after 6 years, he became as a project manager. But I want to maintain this complete history. So I don't want, if I go for correction, it will overwrite the existing record. If I go for update, what happened? It will go for create a new record. Old record will be there and it will be disabled. Effective end date and effective start date. So in our mission, what is the difference between correct and update is simple. Correction means it will overwrite the existing record. There won't be any history. Update means it will disable the existing record and create a new record. Create a new record into the table, and then we will find the update information. History will be maintained here. It is. It's clear, everyone? Yeah. Someone has connected Samsung. Can you please mute? Connected from Samsung mobile. It is. Yeah. So the first one is an enterprise option. So what are the information will be specified at enterprise level? Enterprise level, mainly HRMS, means human capital management, person setups, nothing but employee setups, workday information, nothing but office information. Will find the employment model setups, position synchronization, like this will find. Okay. Within the enterprise, we will go for configure the divisions. As I said, divisions are not mandatory, but still we can see how we can create divisions. Last time we discussed by using ESC, Enterprise Structure Configurator. In ESC model, we are going to perform this. Here it is. Now we are going for divisions. This is the page where we can create a divisions. Generally, when we are working with the Fusion applications, whenever we open any task, there will be two regions, search region, search results region. Search region will be used to search existing records. And then if you want to go for create a new record, you can go for create the records from here it is. And whenever we are searching, we can go with advanced also. Let me create a record here. Mentioning this.
Sir, what is effective start date, sir? It's company started
That
date.
record, no, effective, not the company, this division. This division is starting from which date?
Okay, sir.
For example, employee as let's say generally what happened in the applications, let's say you are going to hire an employee today and is going to join will issue the offer letter here today, and you will be joining on February 1st. It means employee is effective from which date? February 1st. But today we are going to create a record. It means we are going to create a record. Start date is, creation date is today, but starting date is from February 1st onwards. Like that, we will find the differentiation. Same thing. This division has started on 1st January 1951. Means we are implementing Fusion application software today, but client is telling, I started my business 20 years back. My company has established 20 years back in 2002. So that dates we have to give, either enterprise or legal entity or BU, all this, right? That's why effective start date, from which date it is effective, that information will set up. Divisions, we don't find much information, just we'll give the name of the division and we'll try to close it here.
Sir, this is the same as enterprise structure you did day before
Yes,
yesterday, sir?
yes, ESC.
Okay.
In ESC, we have defined, but
Okay.
we have not identified much information about, right? We
Yes,
just
yes.
given the name and closed. As
Okay.
that's what I said, whenever we are working with the ESC, we don't find much information.
Sure.
That's why we don't use ESC. But in the interviews, they'll ask us, what is ESC? Enterprise Structure Configurator. What is the purpose of this? It is used to configure the enterprise structure automatically. But manually we have done. That's what we have to explain in the interview point of view.
Sure, sir.
Even in the real time also, we'll go this method here.
Okay.
Now the enterprise structure as division has created successfully. After creating the division, any record in Fusion applications, if we want to go for search this record, then we will be using this option here. Let's go to this. I want to search for this division. We'll be able to search here. It is. This is, we can reset. We can search with the starting word also. We don't need to enter any percentage or something. Just. For example, we don't have any idea about division names. We don't have any idea about the division names. So we want to go for get this information, then go to advanced tab. And we have to see, if we look at here, double star is there. Double star means at least one field is required. Means either you have to enter division name or you have to enter division location, any one of this field, and then only you will be able to go for search. Single star means mandatory. When we are working with invoices, customers generally will find single star, means that field is mandatory for searching. For example, we don't have any idea what value is there, then what we can do is we'll take this options is not blank. Is not blank means all the records we are trying to find out. We are trying to find out all the records over here. It is. Select location is not blank. And we are trying to search all the records from the database. And we can get it here. This search region, advanced search, these are common. We'll find everywhere. Excuse me. This search region, advanced search, it's common for any task. Okay. So now we have discussed how we can go for search the divisions, how to create a new division. Okay. But division is not much important when we are working or when we go for an interview also, we don't tell. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So, but they'll expect what is division. We can say division is nothing but area of the business where the client wants to generate some management level type of reports. The type divisions will be created. Next, after division, then we'll talk about legislative data group. What is LDZ? Legislative data group. LDZ stands for Legislative Data Group, which is used to maintain the legislative information. It means country. Legislation is nothing but a country or county. Any legislation is there. Okay. For example, if your client is having business in India, Singapore, and Malaysia, 3 legislative data groups are required. While creating LDZ, will specify the country name and currency and payroll cost. Payroll cost structure will specify. Cost allocation, payroll cost allocation structure. So LDZ is mainly used to maintain our payroll information. Let's say we have 10,000 employees in India, end of the month or end of the week, we are going to run the payroll and then we are going to distribute the payroll amount, salaries to the employees. This is all payroll related information. We want to store it and we want to go for analyze. Then LDZ will be used and it's mandatory. For every country, one LDZ is mandatory. Can we define multiple legislative data groups for a country? If so, in which scenario multiple LDZs are required? For example, if client says that India, I have 10,000 employees. For 5,000 employees, different payroll structure. For remaining 5,000, different payroll structure. It means for North India employees who are working, the organization is providing different facilities. For South India, different facilities. Generally, it won't happen because when you are paying the salaries to the employees, you have to follow the standard structure. Amount is different from one employee to another employee, but terms and conditions, earnings and deductions are standard as per the government. The percentage of amount, excuse me, minimum, I'm so sorry. So the percentage of amount earning and deductions, this all things comes from the country legislation. This much of PF you have to deduct. And if this is the basic salary, this much of HRA should be there. Okay, only this you can provide up to this variable bonus. You cannot provide this. This is the voluntary deductions, like payroll related. So LDZ comes under actually the payroll related, but it's mandatory. You must know it. What is LDZ and how many legislative data groups are required for every country. One is mandatory. We can define multiple. Which scenario? If your client is having multiple payroll cost structures, if they want to configure multiple payroll cost structures, then we'll define multiple LDCs. But we don't find multiple LDCs in the real time. One country, there will be one LDC. Okay, we'll see that now. Where do we find legislative data group? So go to the task, manage legislative data group. For US, or let's say for India, I'm searching. For India, there is built-in LDC, IN legislative data group. We'll have only 4 fields: name of the LDC, country, then currency, and cost allocation structure. Cost means payroll cost. Cost means payroll cost. Here we are going to define here. Okay. For US, we'll find US legislative data group. This is US legislative data group, and country name United States, currency US dollar, and cost allocation structure is some key flux field structure is defined. Okay. So we don't need to worry about that. Here it is about LDC. Just we can have what is LDC and how it will work. Legislative data group options. Over here it is. Okay, let's click done button. We are going to use the existing LDC. Within the LDC, first company will be established. Nothing but a legal entity. Legal entity needs to be established and assign this legal entity to the LDC, legislative data group. It's mandatory. Any company, whatever we are going to register, that needs to be assigned to the LDC. So we are going to create a legal entity. So what is legal entity? Legal entity is nothing but a legal organization where the client has registered their company legally. Wherever the client has registered the company legally, we call it as legal entity or established company. For example, you are running the business in India 20 places. But as per the company registration, out of 20 places, only one place in Mumbai I have registered my company. That is a legal entity. Remaining 19 places, you just opened the outlets and you opened the business and you are selling the goods and you are procuring and you are making the payments. But on the bill, finally, the Mumbai address only it will be displayed. You are going to file all the taxes on the address, whatever legal is there. For example, you go for any forum malls, shopping malls, you will find Shopper Stop, Pantaloons, right? So these all companies are registered somewhere else. Here they just opened the outlet or branch, okay? But main registered office is somewhere Mumbai, Hyderabad, or Bangalore, or Delhi, somewhere. That's why you buy some goods and take the bill. If you keeply observe on that, address will be different. Whatever the registered address is there, because they need to submit to the government all these documents they are supposed to file end of the year. Okay, every bill they are supposed to tell to the government. That needs to be specified. That's why chartered accountants will take care of this, all journals and everything, right? So before we go for create a legal entity, first we have to create a legal address. We'll ask our client how many countries you have business, how many legal entities you have. So let's say client says that I have only one company. I registered only one place in India and then I opened 19 branches. Then one legal entity, then 19 business units. One legal entity, then 19 business units we are going to have. So first we'll see how to create a legal entity. If we want to create a legal entity, first we have to create a legal address. First address, we'll ask our client, what is your office address? Main registered office address. Go to manage legal addresses here. Here we are going to create. This is such region. Now this is for entry region. Which country? United States. Address. I'm going to specify RTL. Line number 2 is this. Enter postal code. I think we have not entered properly. Let me just cancel it and again enter postal code. Like this, legal address will be created. Once the legal address is created successfully, then we will go for create a legal entity. Go to the manage legal entity. So whenever we are working with the legal entity, business unit, ledger, these all options, we'll find right side one option here, scope. What is meant by scope? Scope is very simple. It's a shortcut to go for create a new record, or you want to search existing record. You want to go for create a new record, or you want to go for search existing record. So that we are going to specify. But we don't find for enterprise. If we look at here, when we go for the task called enterprise, we don't find the scope option. See, we don't find scope because there is only one enterprise. We don't find multiple enterprises. Directly that enterprise will be displayed. The moment when you click on that, directly it will go for enterprise. And we don't have multiple enterprises, as I said. But when it comes for legal entity, business unit, ledger, we will find multiple, right? Multiple legal entities, multiple business units. Yes, Priyadarshini, please keep it on mute. Legal entity. Is legal entity. Here. So when we click on this scope option, it will pop up. It will pop up a menu here. Yes. Sometimes if you don't find this pop-up menu, you have to refresh this page. Very rare case. Very rare case. You need to go for refresh this. Now the system is asking, you want to create a new legal entity, or you want to select existing legal entity and modify those. So if you want to go for create a new legal entity, you can create from here. If you want to search existing legal entity and go for modify the options, then we'll use this. Now we want to create a new legal entity, right? Create new. Apply and go to task. We can find the existing legal entities here. Now we want to go for create If we want to search for existing legal entities, we can search here. We want to go for create new one. So as I said, legal entity is nothing but a company. We have to specify from which date your company. We'll ask our client, when did you establish your company? Let's say if they say we have done in 2005, that dates will provide which country and what is the company identification number and address. Address we have already created, right? Just now we created legal address in our previous task. Right. So this is about our registration information, and this is about our legal entity information here.
Sir, there is EIN and RTIN, it's a mandatory field, right? So what is that?
Sorry?
There is just two mandatory fields also, right? What is that? EIN, RTIN?
This is our tax information number. When we have company, definitely there will be a TIN number and EIN number, especially for United States. If it is India, then we'll find GST number, right? Company, PAN number, GST number, the details we'll find here.
Okay.
So what
Tax
is legal
information.
employer, sir?
Yeah, we are going to discuss that. So mentioning that it's a country and name is start date I'm putting is 2005 January. If at all company is going to be closed, then we'll put it as end date. It comes under which jurisdiction? US. What is the legal address here? We'll specify the legal address details. Just now we created, right? We'll search for that legal address. Search for the legal address that. And place of registration, where your company has registered. So to specify it's in New York. And number means tax information, registration numbers, legally reporting registration numbers. These all registration details should be given by the client, and that we have to go for fill up, whatever, because there is nothing. Even company also will receive all this information from the government in the sense from the legislation, whoever is having this legislation legal rights. Here it is. Okay, now see. So what we have done is now we created a legal entity. So what is legal entity? Legal entity is nothing but a legal organization where client will prepare tax documents and submit to the government. Submit to the government. That is a legal entity. Indirectly, it's a company. Now, if company wants to hire employees, if they want to go for hire an employees, you have to make it as a legal employer. If you don't make it as legal employer, then you cannot hire employees. Then you cannot go for hire an employees. You cannot go for hire employees. So you have to enable legal employer checkbox. So what is the difference between legal employer and legal entity? Is very simple. Legal entity means we cannot hire employees. Legal entity means we cannot hire employees. If we want to hire employee, we must enable it as a legal employer. That's why in human capital management, whenever we are hiring an employee, it won't ask you the legal entity. It will ask you select legal employer for which legal employer you are hiring employee. Of course, it's indirectly that is going to be this one only, legal entity, but you will have an option to this checkbox. legal employer. So if it is a legal employer, then only we can hire the employees. That's fine. The moment when we enable this checkbox, immediately system is asking, okay, if you hire employees, how you will pay the salaries for them? You pay it from this company only, or you pay it from some other company? The next question, you are telling that I am going to hire employees. Then the next, obviously, you have 10 employees or 10,000 or 1 lakh or 1 billion employees, doesn't matter. You should pay the salaries to employees. Then you are supposed to configure, you pay it from this company or you are going to pay it some other company. So there might be some clients who are having business in multiple companies, multiple countries. The salaries might be paying from some other country, US payroll, India payroll, like that, right? So that time we are supposed to assign this PSU, another PSU. So I'm going to enable right now PSU, payroll statutory unit. It means this company can hire employees, can run the payroll and distribute salaries to these employees, whoever is working for this company. We are not doing, that's why it is disabled. To see the moment when you disable this option, enable this checkbox, it's automatically disabled. So what is the meaning of that here? So RTL legal entity is a company. It's a legal employer, so we can hire employees, and it's a PSU, so that we can go for pay the salaries to the employees. Here it is. That's how we are working. So it's clear, everybody. Any doubts, please let me.
Sir, what about the consultancy, sir, which they hired the employees, third party companies?
Yeah, for example, let's say there is a consultancy, they have 5,000 employees, they are implementing Fusion applications to maintain their employees' data. No problem, they are only paying the salary, right? End of the day, you are working for some client, but payment salary will come from the consultancy only, right? So that itself is a PSU, payroll statutory unit.
We don't track it, sir.
It means
If we have a 10,000 employees, 5,000 employees are working in this LE, and other 5,000 employees are working in consultancy.
okay.
Those employees we don't track it, sir.
That we will be tracking as a contingent worker. In human capital management, there are 3 different types of employees. One is employee, another one is contingent worker, another one is a non-worker. So employee means permanent, contingent worker means contract employee, C2H. Through consultancy, they will be working. Non-worker means a person who will be providing some suggestions, advisors. They'll not work, they'll just give the advising. Maybe they can take in the gift type of reimbursement. They won't take salary also. So that time, 3 types of employees will find over here. It is. That is in human capital management will maintain. Okay. So whether it is a permanent employee or contract employee, if we want to hire, we must enable this checkbox, legal employee. Is clear? Any doubts?
Clear, sir.
So now 3 organizations, legal entity, legal employer, and payroll statutory unit, PSU. And we'll find 3 organizations. Here it is. Okay. Legal entity configure we have done. So legal entity definition is, if they ask you what is legal entity is nothing but an organization where the client has established or registered their company. That's what we call it as a legal entity. Then what is legal employer? Legal employer means indirectly it is a legal entity only, but additionally we can go for higher employees if it is legal employer. Then what is PSU? PSU stands for payroll statutory unit. If the legal entity is enabled as a PSU, then only we will be able to run the payroll and pay the salaries to the employees. If it is not PSU, then we have to attach for another PSU. we have to attach for another PSU. For example, your client is telling Hyderabad, I have registered company. I have 10 members employees. Bangalore, I registered my company. There are 10 employees. Chennai, I have registered my company. There are 5,000 employees. Total 5,020 employees are there. How many companies I have in India? 3 companies. 3 legal entities means indirectly 3 companies only. You have to register 3 companies. Okay. So maybe this is automobile sector. This is second-hand cars repair sector. And this is for finance sector. Now company is telling, I will pay the salaries from this company for these 2 company employees also. Okay. In that scenario, then this will be the PSU associated with this 2. While creating these 2 legal entities, we have to select this as a PSU. We have to select this as a PSU over here. Okay. So very rare case like that. Definitely Oracle has to provide all the features for everybody because when they are building the product, they should consider every option, small, medium clients and large clients and complex mergings. This all they have to be considered and provide all the features. It's up to the client whether they want to utilize that feature or not. Options here. Okay. So this is the second setup. We have created legal entity. So if we want to search legal entity and make some changes, then again you have to go for scope. Select. We are not creating new legal entity. We are selecting existing legal entity. Search. We can make some changes here, whatever we require according to the requirement. This, any changes are required, we can do it. Edit address or this one, this. Okay. So once the company is registered legal entity, this must be assigned to legislative data group. This must be assigned to the legislative data group. Because we have configured, this is my company, I have employees, I'm running the payroll, I'm paying the salaries to my employees. This payroll related information should be transferred to LDZ, legislative data group. So LDZ is used to maintain your payroll information to calculate the payroll cost. Okay. Up to that definition, we can remember about LDC. We don't need much about this because that's purely human capital management will take care of it, HCM consultant. So now we'll just see how we can go for associate this legal entity with the legislative data. Now go to the task here, manage legal entity in HCM information. Manage legal entity HCM information here. We are already in the scope of legal entity. We are already in the scope of legal entity. We don't need to go for again click on this. Okay. So just go for click on this directly task. It will open the legal entity. This is your legal entity. And we already enabled as a legal employer. That's why we got this tab. And you can find this tab also because we enabled as a PSU also. You can find this PSU, payroll statutory unit. Here. Here only we have to go for assign your legal entity, means your PSU to the legislative data group, to the LDZ. To the LDZ, we are going for it. Legislative data group. Go for edit, correction. Now we are going to associate with US Legislative Data Group or legal entity. We are going to associate. This is mandatory. Otherwise, we cannot hire employees. If you try to hire an employee, then it will show the error message. Your legal entity is not associated with the Legislative Data Group. It's mandatory. So click submit button.
Sir, if you want to select the payroll information in a legal entity, is it mandatory to select LDG also, sir, even though?
Yeah. While after enabling your legal entity as PSU, then only it will allow us to associate with LDC. Otherwise, it won't allow. While creating the legal entity, if you enable, yes, this is a PSU, then it will allow us to go for associate. Otherwise, we don't find this tab. And when you are not running the payroll, there is no question of LDC. LDC comes into the picture only when you are paying salaries to your employees through that company. Then only you have to assign. If you are not running the payroll and if you are not paying the salaries to your employees, there is no question of payroll cost calculation, right? Then we don't need to associate with LDC. Only if your legal entity is a PSU, then it will be associated with this. Okay. So now we have discussed legal entity, legal employer, and PSU. This, but don't worry about the payroll and all. We don't need that's human capital management consultants will take care. But we have to know what is legal entity, how to create, how to make it as legal employer, what is the difference between these two, how to make it as a PSU, how to assign this legal entity, means this PSU to the legislative data group, LDC. This all sequence of steps. There is no change. You work for any client in the world. Create a legal address, create legal entity, enable legal employer, enable PSU, assign your legal entity to the LDC. This is a standard procedure. Maybe you will create multiple. One client says that I have 10 companies. Okay, create 10 legal addresses, create 10 legal entities. Ask out of 10 legal entities, how many are legal employer? Out of 10, only 7 companies are having employees. 3 companies are just for reporting, not for any other employees. Okay, make 7 are legal employer. That's fine. How you are paying salaries to these 7 company employees? Only from 2 companies I'll distribute. Okay, make those 2 are a PSU, assign for remaining 5 employees. Like that, we can have number of records more, but the procedure is same. But the procedure will be same here. It is. Okay. So that's about the legal entity assigning to the legislative data group. And every legal entity should have a ledger, because when you start a company, we said that we'll have employees and we'll run the payroll. That's why we associated with the LDC. That's a basic. Without employee, obviously there is no question of company generally. And without accounts also, there is no question of company. Means without business, accounts is nothing but a business. Either payment or receive. 2 things will happen in accounts. Either you will pay or either you will collect. But how you are going to make the payment? To whom you are going to make the payment? For what purpose you are going to make the payment? What is the source of payment? What are the different categories of the payment? Is it tax or is it interest or is it standard invoice or is it late payment? Like that, different accounting transactions we are supposed to capture. That's why we need a ledgers. We need a ledgers, because every day some thousands of transactions will happen in every branch. I have 100 branches. In every branch, 1,000 transactions per day. 100 branches means it comes as 1 lakh. 1 lakh records per day. Weekly 5 working days, 5 lakhs. End of the month, 20 lakhs. Means 2 million records per month. Per year, 24 millions of records will be there in my database. End of the year, my owner will come. Means the director, company directors will be there. They'll come, okay, let's see, I want to see the branch business end of the year or end of the period or end of the quarter. That's what they used to publish quarter results, right? If it is a public limited company, then definitely they have to publish to the public. If it is private limited company, 3-4 owners will be there. They will sit in the office and they will try to understand what is the business. If it is public, that's why you will find Infosys first quarter result, TCS first quarter results. Why? These all are public limited companies. They are supposed to publish their company business, profit and loss to the public, because public has invested the money in the company through shares. Public has invested. For example, if I purchase 1,000 shares of TCS company, end of the quarter, I want to know what is company status. Based on that, I'll try to sell my share or try to buy some more shares. I'll try to understand, right? That's why ledger is required to manage all our accounting information in a proper format. Okay. So we will discuss that on Monday class. In Monday class, we'll discuss about that. Today we talked about enterprise, division, legal entity, business unit comes later. We'll discuss ledger definition, how to configure that. After that, we will enter into the general ledger. Yeah. Any doubts here, please let me know. Today's session, I'll share it through Google Drive. Yesterday, I don't know why the Google Drive, there was some problem. It was showing the message, you cannot share, limit is exceeded. I'll check it today. And I think admin people will take the email IDs and they'll share that. Okay, thank you. Let's see you on Monday, guys. Happy weekend.
Sir, one doubt, sir, please, sir.
Go ahead.
From last session, I have one doubt, sir. How the project will start, sir? How we will get a work?
Project, generally your client will buy the product from Oracle Corporation, and then once they buy the product, functional consultants will interact with the client. For that, we'll follow project phases. There will be implementation phase, development, designing. This all comes in our this discussion, project discussion. It comes in the last. I think last time also you asked this question. Project we have to discuss after that. It is.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, today's setup, when we do know, I actually did it when you took it for the third day demo. But when we put address, no, sir, it will not take. Maybe we have to put a genuine address or something.
Not required. IP, this address, postal code you have to enter proper.
Okay, any postal code which is located in India is also fine, no, sir?
When you select country as India, if you
Okay.
select India country, the address format is different. By default, it comes United States. If you choose this 12200, generally it's in New York. You can find address here. This automatically filled up city, state, county. If you choose India, then we'll find different address format here. See, city,
Yeah.
name, state. Here you can enter in, no problem, because it is not restricted.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question. I have created a user account, but I was able to only add the application implementation consultant, not the IT security manager.
I think you can allow. What is your user account? What is the username?
It's Karthik, K-A-A-R-T-H-I-C.
Go to users.
K-A-A-R-T-H-I-C.
This one.
Yes.
You have not added any roles, right?
I have added ASM, application implementation. But
You can go for add roles. So while adding the roles, just enter like this and wait. Generally, while searching, it takes a couple of seconds, not more than that. So the role is added here. And then application. Little bit slowly we have to type here. Especially only for roles, not for. It's just coming. Application implementation consultant, ASM underscore. Like this, we can go for add. If we want delete, we can delete from here. Save and close. If we want to reset the password, we can reset from here.
Okay, thanks.
Sir, I have a generic question. Like, if you have to get this URL subscription for a year, like, how much it may cost, sir?
So generally, here we don't get. Oracle will not give it for practice purpose every year. They will give it only for clients. For us, we are going to just take it from the partners, company, Oracle company partners from us. We are going to take it because that they will be refreshing this every week or every 4 days. This.
Sir, one